Welcome to SparkVerse. I'm your assistant, and I'm genuinely excited to have you here. This page is designed to help you prepare, learn, and reach your target score in a way that fits your own learning style. Whether you like to read closely, listen carefully, or work through things step by step, here's what we'll cover together, in order. First, I'll break down exactly how the listening section is structured, the timing, all 4 sections in detail, and how the scoring bands work. Then I'll point you to the practice tests available to you. After that, I'll walk you through all 6 question types you'll encounter, and share practical tips for before, during, and after listening. Next, I'll introduce a free toolkit you can download, tour the additional resources and video playlists available, and explain how a quick piece of feedback unlocks that toolkit. Stay consistent, stay curious, and keep showing up to practice. That's what actually moves your score. And before you go any further, if this is helping you, hit like and subscribe to SparkVerse for more lessons just like this one. Drop a comment below with any questions you have, and tell me your target band score. I'd love to know what you're working toward. Now, let's get started with the fundamentals of your exam preparation. Let's start with the fundamentals of how this section of your exam preparation actually works. The test lasts approximately 30 minutes. And once the recording ends, you get an additional 10 minutes to transfer your answers onto the answer sheet. In total, you'll answer 40 questions spread across 4 sections. And here's something important, the sections get progressively harder as you move through them. Let me walk you through each one so you know exactly what to expect. Section 1 is an everyday social conversation, almost always between 2 speakers, where one person is asking for something and the other is providing it. Think booking a hotel room, enrolling in a class, or arranging an appointment. It's the gentlest section, with the most familiar, everyday vocabulary, so it's a great place to settle your nerves. Section 2 is a monologue, still in an everyday context, but now you're listening to just one speaker for a longer stretch. For example, someone describing the facilities at a leisure center or giving details about a local event. Because there's no back and forth dialogue to help you reorient, you need to stay locked in the whole time. Section 3 shifts into an academic discussion, typically involving up to 4 speakers. Often students working through an assignment together, or a student meeting with a tutor. This one is trickier because speakers may disagree, interrupt, or change their opinion partway through, so you have to track who is saying what. Section 4 is a full academic lecture or talk delivered by a single speaker on an academic subject. It's the most demanding section. Dense vocabulary, no built-in breaks between questions, and it requires sustained concentration. Almost like listening to a short university lecture and taking structured notes as it plays. On scoring, each correct answer earns exactly 1 point. And your raw score out of 40 converts into a band score from 1 to 9. To reach band 7 you need 30 or more correct answers, and to reach band 8 you need 35 or more. Now let's talk about the real situations these recordings simulate more broadly. You'll hear social interactions like phone conversations, booking appointments, asking for directions, social arrangements, and everyday conversations between friends or family. You'll hear public announcements covering facility information, events, services, and travel updates, plus presentations on general interest topics. And you'll hear academic contexts, including university discussions, course planning conversations, academic presentations, lectures, and conversations between students and tutors. Recognizing which type you're about to hear helps you predict vocabulary and tone before the audio even starts. Now let's look at where you can actually put this into practice. There's a full practice test collection organized by question type, which is a great way to drill one skill at a time instead of jumping between formats. Beyond that, there are 2 complete, ready-to-take practice tests. Listening Test 1 gives you all 4 sections in sequence: everyday conversations, monologues, and academic discussions, so you can simulate the real pacing of test day. Listening Test 2 follows the same official format but with different content and varied difficulty levels. So you're building genuine listening skill rather than memorizing answers. I'd recommend using the question type collection first to strengthen any weak areas, then finishing with the 2 full tests under timed conditions to build stamina for the real thing. Let me walk you through all 6 question types you'll encounter, because recognizing the format instantly is half the battle. First, multiple choice. You choose the correct answer from 3 or 4 options. And the trick is focusing on keywords and their synonyms, since the recording rarely repeats the exact wording from the question. Second, gap fill or form completion, where you complete forms, notes, tables, or summaries using missing information straight from the recording. Third, matching, where you connect items from 2 separate lists. For example, matching people to their opinions, or places to their features. Fourth, map, plan, or diagram labeling, where you label parts of a map or diagram based on spoken descriptions. So spatial language really matters here. Fifth, short answer questions, where you respond with just a few words or numbers. And you must stay within the stated word limit or the answer is marked wrong even if the content is correct. And sixth, sentence completion, where you finish a sentence using words taken directly from the recording, while still following the grammar of the sentence as written. Each type tests a slightly different skill, so it's worth practicing all 6 separately before combining them in a full test. Here are practical tips broken into 3 phases: before, during, and after listening. And I want you to treat all 3 as equally important. Before listening, read the instructions carefully every single time. Preview the questions and try to predict what the answers might be. Identify keywords and topics in advance, and make a mental note of the word limit for each question. While listening, follow the recording carefully without letting your mind wander. Listen actively for signpost words, phrases that signal a shift or a new point. Write your answers down as you hear them rather than waiting until the end. And if you miss one answer, don't panic and lose focus on the rest. Just let it go and move on. After listening, check your spelling and grammar carefully. Make sure your answers actually fit logically into the sentence or form. Transfer your answers carefully onto the answer sheet, and use every remaining minute to review rather than finishing early. These 3 phases work together: strong preparation before the audio starts, focused attention while it plays, and careful checking once it ends. I want to tell you about a complete toolkit that pulls a lot of this together into one free, downloadable resource. Inside, you'll find band descriptors explained for bands 6 through 9, each with clear do's and don'ts, so you know exactly what separates one band from the next. There's a breakdown of the top listening mistakes, organized section by section, along with real fixes for each one. You'll get practice checklists to use before, during, and after your sessions. There are score-boosting techniques covering prediction, word limits, and spelling rules, the small details that quietly cost people points. There's a full 4-week study schedule that takes you from foundational skills all the way to a realistic test simulation. You'll also find emergency tips for when things go wrong on the day. Plus test day checklists covering the night before, the morning of, and the moments right before you walk into the room. And finally, there's a set of bonus resources, practical, trusted materials that are ready for you to use right away. It's a genuinely comprehensive companion to everything else on this page, and it's completely free to download. Beyond the toolkit, there are a few more places worth knowing about for your study journey. The Preparation Hub brings together comprehensive materials covering every section of your exam preparation in one place. So it's a good home base to work from. There's also a collection of study tools and products. Digital learning resources designed to support your practice beyond this page. And if you'd like community support, there's a study group you can join, where learners share tips, ask questions, and keep each other motivated along the way. None of these are required, but each one adds a different kind of support to what you're already doing here. There are also 3 free video playlists worth exploring if you learn well by watching and listening rather than just reading. The first focuses on speaking practice, with comprehensive videos and tips for that part of your exam preparation. The second is a general preparation playlist that covers guidance across all sections. So it's a good broad overview if you're just getting started. And the third is dedicated to vocabulary building, which is essential for pushing toward a higher band score, since precise vocabulary shows up in your listening comprehension just as much as in your other skills. Feel free to use these alongside the written material here, not instead of it. One last thing before we wrap up. This toolkit is part of a growing free resource hub, and it keeps getting better based on feedback from learners like you. Sharing your thoughts is completely optional, but genuinely appreciated because it helps shape what gets added next. Here's the practical part. Once you submit the short feedback form, you get immediate access to download the toolkit. No sign-up required, and no email needed. It's a quick way to make this resource better for the next person, in exchange for instant access to everything I described a moment ago. Let's recap everything we've covered today. We went through exactly how the listening section is structured, the timing, all 4 sections in detail, and the scoring bands. We looked at the practice tests available and how to use them strategically. We walked through all 6 question types you'll face, along with tips for before, during, and after listening. I introduced you to the free toolkit, the additional resources, the video playlists, and how a quick piece of feedback unlocks that download. You now have a genuinely complete picture of this page, and that's real progress. Keep practicing consistently. Trust the process, and stay motivated. With steady preparation, you'll absolutely be ready to hit your target band. If this lesson helped you, please like it, subscribe to SparkVerse, and share it with a classmate or friend who's also preparing. It genuinely helps us keep making more of these for free. Here's what's coming next, in the upcoming videos. We'll go deeper into each question type, with hands-on tips and strategy for answering them, plus the common mistakes and traps to watch out for so you don't lose easy points. IELTS for the full breakdown. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in our next video. We've got a live practicing session coming up this Thursday. Keep going, you're doing great.